Like, this for me is one of the biggest, like, oh my god, we're screwed moments for the WNBA.
The WNBA is floundering, and pride won't let them admit the truth. They can't stay afloat without their life jacket, Caitlin Clark. Since her quad injury sidelined her on May 24th, the league has been spiraling into what can only be described as a full-blown financial crisis.
First time without Caitlin. Come on, these guys got to do $1 million, right? No, they got to do 900,000 then, right? No, 800,000. What about 700,000? What? 600,000 views without a helpful hand from Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
They are scrambling like a rookie coach in the final seconds, with no timeouts left and panic setting in. And the scoreboard. Brutal. Since Caitlin Clark's injury, nationally televised WNBA viewership has crashed by a jaw-dropping 55%. That's not a slump, it's a nosedive straight into the unforgiving pavement of reality.
Just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%.
Meanwhile, the Fever's national TV ratings have tanked, down 53%, plummeting from 1.81 million viewers to just 847,000. To put that in perspective, nearly 1 million people basically said, yeah, I'd rather watch paint dry. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA didn't just lose star power, it lost its spotlight. What was once must-see TV has turned into background noise faster than you can ask. Wait, where'd everybody go?
There were 3 players on the floor with signature shoes. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3 players on the floor that have signature shoes. 606k on ESPN. The Fever, without Caitlin Clark, get more viewers on Ion. The Fever, without Caitlin Clark, Fever get more views on NBA TV.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just a Fever problem. This is a league-wide reckoning. The WNBA hitched its momentum to one star, built the hype machine around her, and is now learning the hard way what happens when you put all your eggs in one very bruised basket. But let's talk dollars, because that's what really makes the suits squirm. Ticket prices for Fever road games, they've crashed harder than a meteor, and the impact is being felt in every arena.
Much as some people hate to admit it, the WNBA needs Caitlin Clark. Because for ratings to be down 50% since she's been injured is insane, and it shows her worth that she brings to the league. It shows that she brings eyes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, 20 to 25.
Before Clark's injury, fans were shelling out $86 just to get in the door in Chicago. After the news broke, try $25 in Washington. Ticket prices plummeted from $41 to $14, a 66% drop in both cities. And those numbers should send chills down the spine of every WNBA exec who thought this wave would never break. The secondary market doesn't sugarcoat the truth. When your star isn't playing, people aren't paying.
Wait a minute, let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. A league that is desperate for attention, a league that is begging to be noticed, a league that's been completely ignored and forgotten over the last couple of weeks. This dump of dumps that can't generate interest based on their on-court product, which mainly consists of airballed free throws and some of the worst pretend basketball imaginable. This league is so bad, they can't even pretend to play well. A league that is struggling to sell tickets.
If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that subscribe button, because here's where it gets real. The WNBA made the critical mistake of believing it had organically built its audience. In truth, it had merely borrowed Caitlin Clark's. Last season alone, Clark accounted for a staggering 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity. Let that sink in. One player, out of more than 140, drove over a quarter of the league's total revenue. Her value to the league in 2024 was estimated at $875 million, with 2025 projections soaring past the billion-dollar mark. But now, that billion-dollar engine is on the bench with a quad injury, and the WNBA is watching its revenue streams evaporate faster than a puddle in the desert sun.
A lightning rod for attention since entering the league. She brought in new fans, national media, and even primetime slots. Her absence isn't just hurting the Indiana Fever, it's apparently impacting the entire league's momentum. But this also sparks a deeper conversation. Is it fair for one rookie to carry the weight of an entire league's popularity? You see, critics say the WNBA's marketing has leaned heavily on
And where was the WNBA while their golden goose was getting mauled on the court? Nowhere. Silent. Absent. They stood by as player after player treated Caitlin Clark like target practice. Like she was some training dummy, not the biggest draw the league has ever seen. DJ Carrington. She leads the league in flagrant fouls, 3 in just over a month. Most players don't rack up 1 in an entire season. Kennedy Carter bodyslammed Clark like it was WWE, not the WNBA. And Angel Reese. She was on the bench, grinning and clapping like watching her rival get dropped was part of the halftime show. And don't even get me started on the referees. They've been literally turning their backs while Clark gets hammered, swallowing whistles, ignoring contact, and pretending like the league's biggest investment doesn't deserve protection.
That is a wake-up call for Kathy Engelberg. Hello, lady. Wake up. Wake up. That's your golden goose. Wake up. Stop trying to kill her. I'm sick of this lady, bro. I can't stand Aunt Kathy Engelberg. Nobody cares about the other players like that, and it's just proof in the pudding. So 50%, that's a huge number. Okay, significant. So you need to protect your golden goose. You need to change the rules. You also got to get better referees to protect your asset, or your asset is gone. How about that? That's what needs to happen, because if you don't protect the golden goose now, you should be gone.
Coach Stephanie White didn't mince words. She called the officiating egregious and said the level of disrespect toward her team has been unbelievable. And she's not wrong. Caitlin Clark has been fouled more than any other player in the league, 46 times in just the first third of the season. And yet the refs are acting like it's all part of the entertainment package that they'll whistle her for a technical when the ball hits the back of the backboard, but let opponents clothesline her with zero consequence. It's a joke, only no one's laughing. Things have gotten so out of hand that Indiana Congressman Jim Banks had to step in, writing a formal letter to WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert demanding answers about Clark's safety. When elected officials are getting involved because your officiating is that reckless, you've officially lost control. Banks pointed out what everyone already knows. Clark's impact on viewership and ticket sales is enormous, yet the league refuses to protect its most valuable asset. It's like owning a Ferrari and leaving it in a rough parking lot with the doors unlocked and bats in the trunk. Sooner or later, something's getting smashed.
Had so much drama, and the media, I felt like, mishandled so many things with the WNBA last season, and specifically with Caitlin Clark and her fan base. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her.
The WNBA built this monster, and now they've lost control. They fueled the hype, leaned into the rivalries, encouraged physical play, and turned basketball into a nightly gladiator match. But here's what they didn't account for. When your star player gets banged up from all that physicality, the audience doesn't stick around. They vanish. Sports betting on Indiana Fever games plummeted nearly 50% within a week of Clark's injury. BetMGM reported a 37% drop in betting activity for any game she wasn't playing in. And when even the gamblers won't touch your product, you've got a serious problem. League-wide attendance surged to an average of 9,870 fans per game in 2024, up from 6,615 in 2023, a spike that lines up perfectly with Clark's arrival. The Fever alone were pulling 17,360 fans per game, even outdrawing the NBA's Indiana Pacers. But now, with Clark sidelined, arenas sound more like abandoned warehouses than professional venues. May 2024 brought the WNBA its highest ticket sales in 26 years, up a staggering 156% from the year before. And the common denominator behind that historic boom? Caitlin Clark.
About TV ratings, you protect the golden goose. It's not about special privileges, it's just keeping it fair with the referees, but also keeping it fair for everybody. The stupid ticky-tack fouls, even Kelsey Plum Dog is pissed off and yelling at the refs in press conferences. So 50% of your audience is gone, and also hurt the Indiana Fever as well, because the Indiana Fever fans
are not going to games as often. When are you going to wake up? The league is literally Caitlin Clark. And I said this before, that Caitlin Clark should claim the WNBA as dependent at this point.
Even the WNBA's television partners are feeling the sting. Networks like ESPN, ABC, and CBS invested heavily in coverage, banking on Caitlin Clark's star power to deliver blockbuster ratings. But with Clark sidelined, those numbers are crashing. The Fever's recent game against Chicago pulled in 1.92 million viewers. Solid, but a far cry from the season opener when both Clark and Angel Reese were healthy and the hype was sky-high merchandise sales. They skyrocketed 500% with Clark leading the charge. Now they are slumping. Fans aren't buying jerseys for players they don't care to watch. The uncomfortable truth? The WNBA's entire economic boom was built around one player. And now they are learning the hard way what happens when that foundation starts to crack. Clark's Nike deal alone is worth $28 million, more than most WNBA teams generate in total revenue. Meanwhile, she made just $76,535 as a rookie, all while generating hundreds of millions for the league. The WNBA had the blueprint for success right in front of them. Protect your star, promote your star, profit from your star. Instead, they let her get hacked like a pinata and acted shocked when she got hurt. Worse, they let a culture of resentment take root, where Clark's meteoric rise was seen as a threat, not a rising tide. The league chose politics over profits. And now, they are learning the cost of that decision. One empty seat, one lost viewer, one missed opportunity at a time.